It's for these reasons why narcissists ultimately self-destruct. Are you tired of being controlled by a narcissist? Are you tired of dealing with their entitlement and constant need for validation? Narcissists may seem successful on the surface, but in reality, their own weaknesses and behaviors are what ultimately lead them to ruin themselves. Narcissists have an inflated sense of self-worth and often view themselves as superior to others. They believe that the world would be a better place if everyone thought as they did, and they go to great lengths to control those around them to ensure that their worldview is the only one that is acknowledged. The problem is that this behavior attracts negativity into their relationships and often brings out the worst in people. When challenged, narcissists will invalidate others' feelings and deflect responsibility for their own negative behavior onto those around them. Narcissists often have deep-seated insecurities that they mask with their inflated egos. They crave validation and attention to make up for their own feelings of inadequacy. Understanding this can help us to empathize with them and offer them the support they need to overcome their weaknesses. Do remember that narcissists are always defending themselves. The more you learn about this concept, the better equipped you will be to handle any encounters with them. Typical narcissists suffer from a crippling fear of revealing their true selves. Thus, they create a persona, building a facade upon which their whole existence will ultimately crumble. Keep in mind that narcissists can't even be trusted to tell the truth to themselves. Narcissists react defensively to this behavior by becoming argumentative and pointing fingers. They're unable to have open and honest dialogues, instead resorting to contentious or passive-aggressive behavior. Narcissists believe they are special and therefore feel no obligation to conform to societal norms. Narcissists lack the self-awareness and interpersonal skills required for meaningful conversations. Instead of listening to other people's perspectives, they impose their own. It is inevitable that their downfall will be caused by their self-centered ideals. There are numerous red flags that can be used to predict a narcissist's downward spiral. An attempt on your life would be the first warning sign. A narcissist seeks to make you feel stupid and blame you for all of their issues. But because of this behavior, they're unable to understand how people are connected. This results in poor conflict management and irrational decision-making. If you view conflicts with theirs, they may disregard it as unimportant. They're so confident in their own judgment that they refuse to consider that your thoughts could be helpful. There is no room for argument. Another characteristic of a self-destructive narcissist is their incessant drive to shift responsibility away from themselves and onto others. They make you feel like trash, ruin your reputation, and destroy your life, further proof that they're doomed to failure. When I say that a lot of things are going to occur, I'm not being dramatic. Do you think of a narcissist as someone who always proclaims, "I am the greatest," and says, "No one can deny that the outcome of events was not favorable. It's crucial that I take a look at where I'm at," right? No way. Instead, they shift the blame back to you, failing to own up to their mistakes and work to improve. As a result, they remain stuck in the same destructive patterns that have plagued their relationships from the beginning. Another warning indicator is that they try to push you to follow their ideal of how you should think, act, respond, and form opinions on all matters. In essence, this mindset entails the assertion, "Yes, everything has to be my way." In their minds, there are no other characters, perspectives, or points of view. They believe that insulting each other and trying to change who you really are on the inside is the only way for you to learn to accept each other despite your differences. If the narcissist is successful in making you feel lousy about yourself, you may come to the conclusion, "I will need the narcissist to save me from my own dreadful self." Indeed, that seems to be their underlying logic. However, that's not part of the recipe for a long and healthy life. Another warning sign is when they refuse to say, "I need help," or "You make sense." They would rather not give the impression that their superiority is all they have going for them. Thus, they would instead not admit that they have access to other resources. Evidently, narcissists have a hard time considering you a peer. They only care about you as long as you cater to their ego requirements. Given their limited perspective, they're doomed to perpetually destroy themselves. They aren't considering how their current actions may turn out in the future. Substance misuse, extramarital affairs, poor financial planning, and impolite conduct are just a few of the ways I've seen individuals get into difficulty, and I've seen them all lead to consequences that must be faced. They only care about themselves and their immediate wants and needs, ignoring the consequences of their actions. They are ready to point fingers at others rather than take ownership of their own conduct. Addictions such as substance misuse, unhealthy relationships, the chase of fortune, or the need for approval from others can all hasten a person's downfall. That says a lot about them, that they are so reliant on tyranny. Narcissists take pleasure in dominance games, but are utterly oblivious to the fact that their victims deeply dislike being treated badly or bullied. Self-destructive narcissists are ready to offer misinformed commentary because they're sure that their way is the only way. They have trouble thinking critically and may try to avoid taking on responsibility by distracting themselves with things like mindless screen time. They have no concept of how their actions will affect others. This illustrates their lack of social skills and their desire to follow orders. They are doomed by both their incapacity to harmonize and their arrogance, but they fail to recognize this relationship. To keep from falling into a destructive pattern in responding to a narcissist, it's essential to refrain from saying or doing anything that will make things worse. The more you dwell on and magnify negative emotions like hate, fury, disdain, and bitterness, the more likely you are to fall into the trap set by the self-destructive narcissist. The most effective response to someone's damaging behavior is to put some space between yourself and them and make it clear that you won't be going down that road with them. If the narcissist were truthful, they would admit that their facade hides deep-seated feelings of inadequacy. They would be the first to admit they've wasted their lives complaining instead of improving themselves and their relationships. But since they refuse to take responsibility, you should assume that the narcissist is responsible for any harm that results, and that you will have to deal with the consequences on your own. Meanwhile, make an effort to grow into a more well-rounded person who exemplifies the virtues of love, peace, and justice. The destructive narcissist shouldn't be the standard against which one measures success. Rather, success should be measured against oneself. In addition, setting boundaries is crucial when dealing with a narcissist. By letting them know that their behavior is not acceptable, we can help them to see the impact of their actions and hopefully encourage them to make positive changes. Ultimately, it's up to the narcissist to take responsibility for their own actions and make the necessary changes to improve their lives. By acknowledging their weaknesses and working to overcome them, they can break free from the destructive cycle of entitlement and control that ultimately leads to their downfall. Let this video help you grow and learn as you navigate whatever difficulties you're facing. We truly value your continued attention. I hope you find this video informative. Please don't hesitate to write your opinions and thoughts in the comment section below if you have anything to add. I'll see you in the next video, which will be released soon. Have a nice day.
So guys, let's summarize today's video. Are you tired of dealing with the entitlement and constant need for validation of a narcissist? Narcissists may seem successful on the surface, but in reality, their own weaknesses and behaviors are what ultimately lead them to self-destruct. Let me explain why this happens. Narcissists have an inflated sense of self-worth and view themselves as superior to others. They believe that the world would be a better place if everyone thought as they did and go to great lengths to control those around them. This behavior attracts negativity into their relationships and often brings out the worst in people. When challenged, narcissists will invalidate others' feelings and deflect responsibility for their negative behavior onto those around them. Their behavior also stems from deep-seated insecurities that they mask with their inflated egos. They crave validation and attention to make up for their own feelings of inadequacy. However, they can't even be trusted to tell the truth to themselves, and they react defensively by becoming argumentative and pointing fingers. Narcissists lack the self-awareness and interpersonal skills required for meaningful conversations. Instead of listening to other people's perspectives, they impose their own. This self-centered ideal will inevitably lead to their downfall. Several warning signs indicate that a narcissist is on the path to self-destruction, such as attempting to shift responsibility onto others and trying to push others to follow their ideal. Narcissists destroy themselves because they have a hard time considering others as peers. They only care about themselves as long as others cater to their ego requirements, ignoring the consequences of their actions. Addiction to substance misuse, unhealthy relationships, the chase of fortune, or the need for approval from others can all hasten a person's downfall. They take pleasure in dominance games, but they are unaware that their victims dislike being treated badly or bullied. So in conclusion, narcissists self-destruct because of their inflated ego, deep-seated insecurities, and lack of self-awareness and interpersonal skills. They only care about themselves and their immediate wants and needs, ignoring the consequences of their actions. As someone who has observed the destructive patterns of narcissists, my advice is to be aware of the warning signs and set boundaries for yourself. Remember, their downfall is not your responsibility. Please share your thoughts and experiences about this topic in the comment section below if you have anything to add. Your presence here is greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching this video.